So this is a great little exercise to introduce the young horse to a gymnastic in a friendly way. They're built in a way that your horse can get a good entry into them and should easily be able to canter through the gymnastic without feeling trapped or confused in any way. For the novice rider, this is a nice confidence building exercise that's fun to ride. You'll get help to the entry of some of the jumps, and the others you'll have to work out for yourself. There's nothing super complicated about this exercise, so you should have a lot of fun with it while learning as well. Okay, so this is another one of those setups where you need to lay out the poles first and make sure the jumps are in the right place before you build. The jumps can easily get in the way of each other, so just double check that as well. So we can start off with the gymnastic down the bottom long side of the arena. So it's a placing pole to help with your takeoff point to a bounce, then a nice easy 2 strides to a vertical and another 2 strides to an oxer. And here are the measurements. So from the placing pole to the first bounce, it's 2.5 paces, and then 3 paces for the bounce. I just use cavalettis here to keep them nice and small. Then from the bounce to the vertical, it's 11 paces, and from the vertical to the oxer, it's also 11 paces. Then let's do the line on the top long side of your arena. So it's a vertical, 3 strides to an oxer, followed by another 3 strides to a vertical. It walks 15 paces for both of these distances. It's a pace shorter than the standard 16 paces for 3 strides, but we're keeping the jumps nice and small, so it should ride perfectly on 15 paces. Then we build this line diagonally across the arena. This is the one you may have to fiddle around with a bit to get it into the correct spot. You approach and leave the line this way, so you'll need to get that right. Then you approach and leave the last jump like this, so you also need to take this into account as well. So it's a cavaletti, 1 stride to an oxer, followed by 1 stride to a cavaletti. It may look a little intimidating to ride, but it's really quite simple. Keep it small if you're a little worried though. These are the measurements. So it's 7 paces from the cavaletti to the oxer, and then another 7 paces from the oxer to the second cavaletti. You can jump this going both ways, so set the oxer up to be jumped from both sides. And then the last vertical right next to the gymnastic you just set up. Again, remember how you approach and leave this jump. Then we set up these 3 trotting poles down this end of the arena, 1 large pace apart. And finally, you set up these 2 cavalettis like so. This is part of the warm-up routine, so make sure you can get this ride to them. And that's it, you're all set up and ready to go. Don't forget there's a link to a JPEG of the course plan in the description below. Makes it much easier to build off your phone. So as always, the warm-up routine is orientated around cavaletti work. A lot of people turn their noses up at cavaletti work, but personally I think it has to be the best way to get accurate as a rider. And if you're a novice rider, this is where you're going to learn to see a stride, which makes show jumping a whole lot safer and more enjoyable. On the young horse, this is where you build a partnership. This is where the young horse learns what you're asking him when you're trying to find your takeoff spot. This is where you learn to speak to each other, and once you talk in the same language, show jumping becomes much easier for both of you. I would include this exercise in my flat work sessions as well. So it's simple, 2 cavalettis on a circle. Try find a good takeoff spot to them, and that's it. Don't mind the mistakes. Just keep on going. I promise with practice, they'll get a whole lot easier. Okay, so you start off by getting your horse and yourself comfortable with going through the gymnastic. Make it tiny the first few times you go through it, and then you can slowly make it bigger. Remember, you are just introducing the young horse to a gymnastic here. The point is to give him a good experience so that when you do more of them, he's confident to do them. Once you're doing the first gymnastic well, you can try the second one. As with the first gymnastic, you make this one tiny as well, until you and your horse are comfortable doing them. When you are approaching this gymnastic, focus only on the first cavaletti and treat it exactly as you did the cavalettis in the warm-up routine. Ignore the oxer and just focus on getting a good ride to the cavaletti, and the oxer will ride perfectly. This gymnastic can be jumped from both sides, so definitely do it both ways. Once you're doing the two gymnastics well, you should be ready to do the whole exercise. Remember to stay small until you and your horse are going through the exercise confidently. Awesome, you made it to the end. So you're the type of person that will really enjoy this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and I'll keep the videos coming.